Your cult boyfriend, basically, I feel sad. So we're gonna go to Google and we're gonna have Google find us the best films ever made. And we're gonna go into a few categories, give our thoughts on what we see, acting like this is somehow collaborative. I'm gonna give my thoughts on what I see, and I'm probably gonna make some of you upset, or I just won't have any effect whatsoever. I'll be entirely inoffensive or innocuous. Who knows? We'll see. Anything can happen. Mm. Did you watch my video called Nancy Downs is my favorite movie villain? It's about Fairuza Balk, who played Nancy in The Craft. Brilliant, brilliant film. Amazing villain, clearly. Watch that video. Come on, you fucks. Watch that video. That's a good video. We have fun in these videos, okay? But I lay down my fucking thesis, my fucking raison d'etre in videos like Nancy Downs is my favorite movie villain. Fucking watch it. Okay, now let's have fun, you fucking assholes. Popular 1970s horror movies. Ooh, it's gonna get a bit fucking spicy. You don't know when it's gonna happen, but I promise you it will. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Luckily, we could start off with something that is entirely agreeable. It's one of the greatest films ever made. Toby Hooper, fucking masterpiece. Leatherface, Till I Die. It's anarchic, it is wild, it is relentless, and it's beautiful. I love the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Eraserhead. Eraserhead fucking sucks. This wasn't where I was talking about it getting pretty fucking heated in here. If you watch my channel, then you know that I don't care for David Lynch whatsoever. He's the patron saint of hyper privileged fucking white boys. I hate David Lynch. There's nothing good for David Lynch. Um, except for Blue Velvet, I guess. I think Blue Velvet's good. I don't think it's like something that's extraordinary. I don't ever want to talk about it. Eraserhead though, I just have no use for. Oh, that's it's a useless fucking movie, made by a mostly useless director. The Brood, the other David, but the other David I kind of like. I like Cronenberg, and I actually like The Brood. My favorite Cronenbergs are fucking probably Dead Ringers. And I've been, the more I think about it, Eastern Promises is really high on my Cronenberg list. I don't know if it's quite earned, but um, yeah, Dead Ringers and Eastern Promises right now, those are my favorite ones. But The Brood is good fun. That is good fun. Some Freudian fucking whiplash of a nightmare. Carrie. Carrie, I fucking love. I'm a huge Brian De Palma fan. You won't really catch me saying anything terrible about Brian De Palma, mostly because I think he's a fucking genius. And he's one of the first filmmakers I ever completely fell in love with. And Carrie, fuck, based on some of the things that we talk about from the 90s, right? These kind of films like Scream and Scream 2, The Faculty, these films that seem to The Craft that I mentioned earlier, they predicted a certain kind of behavior within this new 90s outsider, the weaponization of the misfit that would seem to emerge in real life tragedy, like within Columbine, those kinds of things, those kinds of acts done by media obsessed, violent psychopaths. Carrie, in a large way, is the first cinematic Columbine kid, and I would love to explore her character. I'd love to analyze her. Book's good too, but the film, that's something else. That's beautiful. That's beautiful, and has a lot to say about religious fanaticism too, and how religion is almost fundamentally abusive. And I couldn't agree more. Fuck God. The Exorcist. Here's where I was talking. This is what I meant by a hot take. This is my hottest take, honestly. I'm not even worried about Eraserhead. I'm not even worried about how I feel about that. The Exorcist, though, I don't like. I don't think it's a good film. I don't. So also don't expect like a long explanation as to why. I'm not going to go into it here. But my hottest take, I think, would be that The Exorcist is a bad horror film. I don't think it works. I honestly don't. If I get enough pushback in the comments or enough like honest like inquiries about it, I'll bite the bullet and maybe I'll talk about it. But those fucking priests are so annoying. Jesus fucking Christ. And I don't like ethically also believe that Linda Blair should have had to have said those things or have been in that situation in the first place. That's not my major problem with it, but that's I guess, a more practical issue to have. My issues are that William Friedkin, To Live and Die in LA, fucking masterpiece. He's great at crime. Great at crime dramas. Horror? It's fucking awful at it. There's also a large part of me that can't take hyper literal expressions of God or the devil seriously. It's all just kind of fucking funny to me because it's the most like unreal a fucking horror film can be. Invasion of the Body Snatchers is very good. I tend to like the films that it influenced more, like The Invitation, and I mean even The Faculty that we were talking about earlier. Its legacy is far more impressive than it is, though. The Wicker Man, um, it's not like good, right? But I don't think anyone would say that it's good. It's really funny. It's got that cool cult character to it. It's a good fun time. It's nothing masterful, but fuck, it's a good old time. Drink a few beers, have a few laughs. Christopher Lee, fuck, it's funny. It's funnier than the Nicolas Cage version. I mean, that's saying something, dude. The Rocky Horror Picture Show. Now that's a rite of passage, right? Not even like a queer rite of passage. That's just a rite of passage for being a teenager who wants to shock the world or set it on fire. We've all been to, hopefully, if you're in my audience, then you have experienced not just one, but several midnight shows of Rocky Horror Picture Show. I, being the antisocial fucking dork that I am, I. I don't like them, but also it's stemming from some trauma from the first time I went to one of them. But let me, before I guess, criticize midnight showings of the Rocky Horror Picture Show. No one ever talks about the content of the Rocky Horror Picture Show because that doesn't fucking matter. What's fascinating about Rocky Horror is the relationship that it has built with a certain kind of misfit subculture that grows ever larger, seeming to imply that misfits are a growing phenomena and we're never going away. And midnight shows of the Rocky Horror Picture Show are invaluable, especially to renegade cinephiles who want to experience a slice of postmodern freedom. So that was fucking traumatic. I went here in Universal Studios, right? That was my first midnight show. Well, it was Universal City Walk, but it was still associated with a big fucking company. So you think that it wouldn't be too fucking out there, too edgy. But no, they're like, it's a fucking huge auditorium. And like, which three of you haven't been here before? And I was in like drag, right? I had like cool ass, like sick boy from Train Spotting blonde hair. I mean, I was also a junkie at the time, so that probably helped the whole look. But I had a cool like pink tutu or some shit on, and I put my hand up because I was probably drunk or high or something, and thought, no way would they pick me, but they did pick me, and I had to go up there. They had this girl, like, I mean, I got a girl, but like everyone else got like same sex or whatever. Whatever. Here's the thing: they made them like go down to their underwear, and then they wrapped their fucking waist in cellophane, right? Like see through like plastic, like one wraparound. It's not like it was very whatever, but and they put like a fucking Twinkie on this girl's fucking the fucking pussy, bro. And and I was looking over, and my friend got selected too, and he was about to eat a Twinkie off of some like huge fucking drag guy's fucking dick. I think we snuck in, dude. I don't think we were legal, but and they're like, go for it. Who can eat the Twinkie off the person's genitalia the fastest? And I'm like 16 probably, and kaboom, boom, boom. I won. Just so you know. Fucking, I don't fuck around when it comes to like publicly humiliating sexual acts on a movie theater stage. You should experience that too. Go for it. Definitely raise your hand. Fucking eat Twinkies off of fucking pussies. 1980s action drama, Scarface. I love De Palma. And I love Scarface. I think Scarface is fucking awesome. I believe it's about how capitalism cannibalizes itself. And I think it's deeply ironic. And I think it's hyper materialistic. And I think it's a hyper violent takedown of that 80s excessive maximalist philosophy that seemed to dominate the decade. The Karate Kid, whatever. No. How about no? How about no? I don't fucking like it. I will never watch it again. And I haven't watched it in over 20 years. You know what? You can fucking keep the Karate Kid. I don't need it in my life. Full Metal Jacket is very good. It's a very good Kubrick film. There's plenty to say about it, but I don't feel like saying anything else. Die Hard is a lot of fun. Hans Gruber, John McClane, yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. You know, a guy can't look at a poster of it and not quote it ceaselessly, but I'm going to spare you and move on to Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, which is actually my favorite Indiana Jones movie. I don't care. I don't care. Your PC culture, bro, ain't. I don't give a fuck. I know that it's fucking racist. I know that it's incredibly insensitive. But, like, my little kid eyes don't give a fuck about that at all. If you remember, we've talked about Spielberg before, and there's not a single movie he's ever made that I didn't originally watch and fall in love with when I was a child. And we've discussed about like how I don't trust that sort of sensibility, right? I think that his intentions are wildly indecent, probably, but I don't care. I watched this when I was a kid. I wasn't like I wasn't thinking of painting an entire culture with a broad brush. I was thinking about covering your fucking heart, Indy, because he's gonna tear it out of you. And like Short Round was a good analog for me. I imagine that I was Short Round. It's like a Robin and Batman situation. Like Temple of Doom's fine. I don't give a fuck that it's insensitive. I don't care if it's technically less impressive. I don't think that like any of them are like dazzling masterworks, dude. It's fine. Temple of Doom's my favorite one. I'll move on. I'm not making any sort of sense. I'm entirely incoherent, over the top. Look, if you just want to have a good time, you won't even have a good time with that one. That's like a fucking kids movie, dude. Stallone's made some really great bad movies. Assassins and Cobra and fucking, what's another one? Tango and Cash. Like he's made a bunch of really like so bad they're good movies. Over the Top is not one of them because it's a bad movie that has to stay entirely sanitized and safe because I believe it was rated PG. Top Gun, let me remind you all that Top Gun is actual military propaganda. So many people signed up for the fucking Air Force after watching Tom Cruise fucking swagger his little dangerous psychopathic ass out there in a goddamn jet. And now everyone's just simping over the new one. Like even people with like more radical politics are simping for Top Gun 2, like actual literal military propaganda. I have fun with it. Whatever. I like to view it a bit. I mean, the homoerotic undertones are entertaining. I love Val Kilmer. He is so good in it. Iceman, baby. He rocks. Tony Scott, I've just never been a big fan of the direction wise, and I feel like Top Gun as a film has done like the damage that you could measure to young men. And there's no, it's a lot easier. I don't have to champion it. It's not actually good. We don't have to get into any sort of substantive conversation about whether or not Top Gun is a good movie when it's clearly military propaganda. There are great movies out there that are propaganda, but that's a whole can of worms that I'm not forced to open yet. Like Stallone First Blood. I don't think it's good. I just don't think it's good. Everyone acts like that's a great movie, but it's not, though. I think I like First Blood 2 more. And I like the one with Julie Benz. Julie Benz, my fucking Buffy and Angel Dream girl, Darla. The one, I think it was just called Rambo. That one was fucking brutal, dude. Rambo 3 is fucking terrible. And I never saw Last Blood. And if there's another Rambo, then I'm just forgetting it. But First Blood, that's the definition of an overrated movie, dude. You're just surprised that a Stallone film had some sort of actual coherent message to convey. Let's go to coming of age dramas. Stand By Me is pretty good. It's pretty good stuff. It's hyper sentimental, but it should be, right? I think that the framework of the film is that it's the Will Wheaton character like looking back on on a moment that was like super informative that shaped the man who he was, like their ideas of understanding death and poverty and class and uh violence, right? It's beautiful because of River Phoenix more than anything else. Had he lived longer, he would have been probably the greatest actor we would have ever seen. Especially since he gave a performance as good as this one in Stand By Me without hardly ever having known what screen acting was before this. It's really interesting. Everyone would liken River to James Dean, and he would get kind of embarrassed because he didn't know who he was. He grew up in a fucking cult and then performed on the side of the street with his family. Once in a millennium kind of presence, that one. Kiefer Sutherland is a cool villain actor. Almost Famous, I do like. Hey, Fairuza Balk is in that. Have you seen my video about Nancy Downs from The Craft? It came out recently. You should fucking watch it. What are you doing? Go watch that one. Kate Hudson is extraordinary in the film. One of the better, if not one of the very best performances of the 2000s. There's a lot of stuff in that movie that warms your heart. Once again, it's a hyper sentimental movie, but I think that the framework, the context, justifies it in its own way. What do you dig about music? Everything. Yeah, but Cameron Crowe, I might have to analyze him one day. One day. American Graffiti, we've talked about before. I think it's George Lucas's masterpiece. I think it's an absolutely brilliant movie. Dazed and Confused is an excellent film. I love it. Richard Linklater fucking killed it with that one. That's a masterpiece. Pariah, guess what? I haven't seen it. I'm sorry. 13? 13's okay, but 13 does feel a lot like an after school special, right? It feels way too much like an anti-drug or an anti-self-harm ad. And I'm not saying that a teen film should be in support of those things, but should be a bit more nihilistic, though. Breakfast Club, I think, is wonderful. I don't fucking care if Gen Z thinks that they have a problem with it. The faculty's better, but the faculty is nothing without having the archetypes of the Breakfast Club to weaponize in the first place. And the Breakfast Club is excellent. Get fucked, Gen Z. Juno, that was like that's a coming of age movie that came out. Well, I guess I was 13 when 13 came out too. But Juno, I was God, what was it, like 16 or 17 or something when that movie came out? Saw it in theaters with my 16 to 17-year-old friends. And Elliot Page fucking rocked in that movie. He was amazing and he was hot. And Michael Cera was good too. I guess. Um, Diablo Cody. That's another one we have to analyze because I'm not really certain of my feelings about her writing. But you know, it's fine. Juno is fine. What the best thing that Juno did for me was introduce me to Kimya Dawson and the anti-folk scene for sure, though. But it had a good attitude. Oh, Jennifer Garner was fucking amazing in it. Made me see how underappreciated she was as an actor. Go to noir crime movies. Let's fucking do this shit. Noir crime movies. Look at that. Noir. Not a single one of these fucking movies are older than like 1990. Maybe Blood Simple is, but like we are quibbling, okay? Noir is a certain period of American film, of Hollywood films that are post-war, happened in the 40s and 50s. What the fuck am I looking at? The Usual Suspects. It's fine. I don't give a fuck. Fargo is breathtakingly good. I love it. It's hilarious. Blood Simple, I don't love it as much. You can tell it's the Coens first. Nightcrawler, excellent film. Great movie. Gone Girl is overrated. Fuck that movie. It's way too long and I don't give a fuck about any of it. And since when did David Fincher become the most overcomposed director in the fucking world, dude? Like, stop it. The Departed is awesome. That's a really cool movie. Seven? Now that's more like it, David. I like that. I like that. That's a good movie. And Drive is a fucking Drive's lit, dude. Drive's good. I like it. Drive is good. Let's see if we can find some. Let's go exploring into more what Google thinks noir is. Heist noir movies. There we go. This looks a bit more like it. A bit closer to what I was thinking. Thief, Michael Mann film. Michael Mann's first film? Who knows? It's a brilliant film. It's a Michael Mann masterpiece. The first in a long line of Michael Mann masterpieces. I love Thief. Beautiful fucking crime film. The Asphalt Jungle. John Huston kicks ass, and that movie kicks ass as well. The Killing is a pretty unremarkable Kubrick film, but kinda cool. The Red Circle, pretty good shit. Bob the Gambler. Bob Laflambeau. Ooh, okay. Jean-Pierre Melville. Bob Laflambeau is one of the films that got me into world cinema, but specifically French cinema. It's one of my very first French films. And I actually only watched it because I was really into Paul Thomas Anderson when I was like 13 or 14. And I remember on the Hard 8 DVD, he was like, oh, this movie is basically like a rip-off wholesale of Jean-Pierre Melville and Bob Laflambeau, Bob the Gambler, and that made me seek it out. It was my first Criterion too, I think, and it's brilliant. I love the film. So yeah, that's a super important movie to me. Trance, never ever watched it. I don't know if I've heard of it, to be honest. Gun Crazy is pretty cool. Pretty cool. Got nothing bad to say about that one. White Heat is good shit. I think that Cagney's best performance it will always be The Public Enemy, but White Heat tends to be the critics' choice, and it's really, really phenomenal. So much energy. He was off his fucking rocker when he was making that movie. He was nuts. I love Cagney. All right, let's just keep going down this rabbit hole. Heist dark comedies. I like when Google has these mini strokes. Heist dark comedies. A Fish Called Wanda. Have not watched it in a very long time. I'm not a fan of like Monty Python and stuff though, and I do know that this one John Cleese and Michael Palin are huge parts of this film. But this is the one that Kevin Kline won an Oscar for. I think I should revisit it because you have to be like really fucking transcendental if you win an Oscar for like a straight up comedy role. Kevin Kline is a very impressive performer. It's not as if I put a lot of value in the Academy, but it does make you raise your eyebrows and like it does pique curiosity when you're like, oh yeah, that's the one. That's the one where they gave a big shiny naked golden Oscar Globe meaningless fucking statue thing. But nonetheless, that's the time when they gave an award to laughter rather than tears. Sexy Beast is really fucking overrated. Come on. I don't give a fuck about Sexy Beast, dude. Ben Kingsley. I will never think Ben Kingsley is tough. Ever. Like, never. Snatch. I love Snatch. It's maybe one of the last truly great mainstream postmodern films. Guy Ritchie fucking nailed that movie. That movie was so cool. It was like, oh my God. It was like the logical conclusion of all of the hyper deconstruction that was Tarantino-centric postmodern films, right, in the 90s. And it has to culminate in 2000 with Snatch, where Guy Ritchie decides to like, oh, to hyper fixate on like on moments that are seemingly frozen in time that are the results of hyper violence, and the way that Guy Ritchie decides to hyper compose his film, it fixates on every little component of hyper violence until my God, until deconstructionism itself is shot to smithereens with a Tommy gun, dude. And very, very impressive film. Snatch is good. The Lady Killers. I've never seen the original. I saw the terrible Coen Brothers remake though, but I haven't seen the original. Can't say that I want to see the original. I'm not interested. I don't give a fuck. I can go my whole life without seeing it, and I don't think it would make any difference upon it. Pulp Fiction. So every great thing I said about Snatch times that by 10,000 and you come close to how I feel about Pulp Fiction. I think it's one of the most important films ever made. Pulp Fiction rules. 30 minutes or less. I haven't thought about that movie in a really long time. It's not good. It's not funny, but it's got some funny people in it. I think Aziz Ansari and Danny McBride. I think those are two very funny individuals. Jesse Eisenberg is a good actor. It's just not a good movie. Sugar and Spice. Sugar and Spice. Okay. Holy shit, dude. I haven't thought about that movie in forever. I love Sugar and Spice. Holy shit, dude. Oh my god. Now that's a your cult boyfriend movie right there, dude. Okay, okay, okay. Sugar and Spice is once again on my radar. I forgot all about it. That's a lot of fun. That is a lot of fun. I love Sugar and Spice. 12-hour shift. It's a film. Wait, 12-hour shift or human organ? I'm guessing it's called 12-hour shift. I've never heard of that in my life. Cult dramedies. Okay, that's totally not a thing, but okay. I can already see some titles are becoming have been recycled by the algorithm. This will be where we'll end it. Mrs. Doubtfire is fucking awful. Hate it. The Royal Tenenbaums is beautiful. It's Wes Anderson's last good movie. I think that Wes Anderson made three incredible films, and that would be his first three: Bottle Rocket, Rushmore, and The Royal Tenenbaums. And I will die on all three of those hills all day, every day. Come at me. Those three movies are fucking phenomenal films. Everything after that, he loses the plot. He becomes so deeply narcissistic and self-obsessed that his films lose every ounce of pathos and empathy and emotion that they once possessed. And once you lose that sort of feeling as an anchor, you lose the humor entirely. And it just all becomes contrived. Ironic humor is only humor if the irony comes from human failure. We have to remember this. I say that shit like, duh, like we've all been saying it. Like, what the fuck is wrong with me? I think it's right, but like, I need to work on how I frame arguments. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I think is okay. I think it's an okay Tarantino movie. I don't think much about it, but it's impressive. Breakfast Club, here it comes again. I think it's great. The Devil Wears Prada is fucking dog shit. Tootsie is. mm, What is it good? Yes, it's good. Tootsie is good. Almost Famous, talk about that. Pretty heartwarming, pretty delightful stuff. Little Miss Sunshine. I've always been so neutral about Little Miss Sunshine. I think it's fine. I have never felt as if a movie was more fine than Little Miss Sunshine. It's fine. It's whatever. Thank you for watching. I've been your cold boyfriend, babbling incoherently, probably telling you that your favorite movie was dumb. Thanks for watching. Subscribe. But before you do, watch the Nancy Downs video and interact with it, you fucking pigs.